Can everybody hear me okay? Is it okay? Whoops. I'm going to just move things around. Give me a second. I'm going to go ahead. Sorry about that. I'm going to go ahead and open up the live stream. And the reason I'm going to do that, sorry, is so that I can, just want to be able we're having some visual problem. I just want to make sure I can see everybody. So that is what we're going to be doing. Awesome possum. Well, hello. Welcome to the Sunday brunch. How do you like where we're hanging? We're in a magical forest, and outside my magical cottage, and I hope that makes you all happy. Hello, Kay Travel Tarot. Welcome to the Sunday brunch. Please take a seat. We have much to talk about. There is much going on in the world. And I know that you will all want to hear all about it. Unfortunately, Joel Tilson is with his grandchildren, so we will have to stumble about somehow without him. Hello, Fingal. Karen W. is in the house. Arnica Loeffling, hello. Olga Pera, hello. Melody Harmon, gosh, I'm glad to see you. Sarah, hello. Tupelo, honey. And thank you to everyone who has decided to join the stream, hang out with us, sing Kumbaya, and all of that good stuff. Well, I've got a bit of a problem, and I need to talk to you folks about it. You see, I've fallen in love. Yes, the Oracle of Whimsy is in love. Yes. With my violin. Cheers, everyone. Isn't this beautiful? Debbie Brady designed it, so if anybody would like to pick up any of the beautiful merch from Debbie, just check out our merch pages. She also did my very nice little kitty design. Yes, I picked up the violin at 60. I have had 3 classes, and I want to tell you it's been absolutely incredible. But when I first picked up the violin, I was so crazy and neurotic, typical Whimsy. I wanted to play like Yitzhak Perlman after a week, But now my attitude has completely changed regarding the violin, and I now realize it's not the destination, people. The violin, it's not the destination. You just have to enjoy the process. But what I love about the violin is that it really is stimulating my intellect, because it's very hard. And it's an interesting instrument because it has a feminine aspect. You think about it, it's very tantra. The violin is the female and the bow is the male. And you are in the middle of this beautiful energy of the yin and the yang coming together. Which is true for the string instruments. In the case of a guitar, your hand acts, and it's also this connection between and the shape is female. And I think that's really kind of interesting. So we have some interesting questions coming in. If you have not had a chance to do so yet, if you could like and subscribe, it would be most appreciated. We have a couple of quick announcements, and then we're going to go into some remote views for about 10 to 15 minutes. I'll be answering any questions you folks have about any of the remote views I've done up to this point, and a little bit of information about remote views we've done over the last couple of days. I think you'll all enjoy that. Then we will do the Empath prayer, and then we will blitz, blitz, blitz away. Does that sound good? All right. Okay, so the first announcement we want to make is that many of you know that we have a book club. Yay, we have a book club. And once a month, we read books from people that are unknown authors or authors that are just starting out, people that are part of our community. And we select a book a month, and then we get together, hopefully in some cases with the author, on Taco Tuesdays at the end of the month. Anyway, this month I wanted to announce for the month of August, we've already completed the reading last month, which was Stay Sober and Save the World. This by Ellen Archer, that was what we read in July. For August, we're reading Inviting the Queen. Inviting the Queen. This is August Book Club, an emerging archetype for women at midlife by Sandra Rogers. It actually has already received a couple of awards, like the Nodis Book Award. So if you would like to join us for the book club, please do so. We look forward to it. I did not, I had last night, because I'm so obsessed with the violin, that I woke up at 3:30 in the morning. And of course you want to play the violin at 3:30 in the morning, but you don't want to wake your neighbors. So I'm so obsessed with the violin that I've been doing bowing exercises at 3:30 in the morning. And so that's where you just play with your bow and you walk up and down the bow, and you try to do different exercises to strengthen your hand. Like there's a lot of exercises you can do on the violin without making noise. So sometimes at night I'll get up and I'll just work for literally a couple of hours, just doing fingering, just working on my bow, working on my positioning. So yeah, so I'm saying now that my soulmate is the violin. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to turn the camera around. Go ahead and tell us who you are, where you're coming from, what you eat, and what you're drinking. By the way, how's the weather in your part of the world? This is a brunch, and we are raising money for charity, by the way. As you know, the fires are out of control in North America. So our charity is AmericanForest.org. If you would like to make a donation, for every dollar that is donated to AmericanForest.org, the money is used to plant trees and support healthy forest management. So that is what's going on with us here. Hey, Yolanda, good morning to you. Oh, you having anything nice to drink, Yolanda? Hi, Riff Raff. Yeah, we're doing good today. Hi, Patrice Kelly. Thank you for being a member. Hi, Super Queen Bee. Thanks for helping out today. Katrina, hi. Good to see you. Marie, hello. Rose Blue, thank you for being a member. Hi, Ocean Star. Hope you got the message I sent you. Geocosmic Valentine is in the house. Great remote viewer, and she has a great channel of her own. Hello to Dawn G. Melody Harmon helping out. Joanna Carson, thank you for being a member. Sarah Roberts, hello. LC, hi. Hi to you all. And we all know the rule, be kind to all so that all can be kind to you too. Let's talk about the remote views. All right. So the first remote view we're talking about has to do with changes that are taking place in the environment. And so actually the energy that I went into was I was spending a lot of time abiding. I was spending a lot of time just trying to take care of myself and be in a good energy because I had been getting over the flu. But where I found myself going in my remotes was I found myself being carried again into the future Earth, and specifically the future Earth over the next 2 to 3 years. And people are very concerned about some of the environmental challenges that are taking place in the Earth at this time. But what I felt when I went into this energy was that we were coming up with technological ways of dealing with global warming. But one of the things that I saw or focused on appears to be a type of satellite. I've talked a little bit about this with you in the past, but there appears to be a type of satellite, weather satellite, that we're going to be putting up in areas of extreme heat that dramatically lower the Earth's temperature, the surface temperature. Um, I think they're going to be put out by NASA. I think that it has a dramatic impact right away. I think that they're going to be putting them, from what it feels like, at the poles. We could be seeing these new satellites launched in areas like the poles, but there's a lot of satellite launches that go out of places, California, etc. But in terms of the focus, it's going to be hot spots. One of the areas they're concerned about, for example, energetically, is what is former Babylon or Iraq, which is starting to dry out. They're losing the Euphrates River, also some of the main rivers that run through that part of the world. So you really see the international community making efforts to put satellites up, particularly in areas of extreme heat. Like I said, I see satellites going up in the poles. I saw parts of Africa, the Middle East, and I think that it's a global effort. And I think that we'll start seeing some activity like this in less than 2.5 years. So that's the first remote. Do you guys want to talk about the first remote and about this need for an emergency intervention regarding global warming? Anybody else see similar devices like that going up when you've done your own remotes? Let's talk about it. They were talking about putting up iron shavings and having it float over the earth, and then eventually it gets burned up over time. But that looks to be scrapped. I don't think that that's what they're going to be doing. This is looking more like an advanced satellite system is being set up. And that it works almost too well. My concern when I go into this energy is that, yeah, we can save the world now in terms of emergency disasters. We don't have to be like, oh my God, the earth is heating, it's heating, it's heating, because we now have the technology within a couple of years to do this. My concern, actually, as a remote viewer, is not that we don't have an emergency solution. They appear to have a type of mirror or something that reflects light. And they are able to reflect the light in such a way when you put them in certain areas that they can dramatically reduce the temperature in those areas. It's kind of weird, these things they put up. It looks like they almost look like shields. You can move them in different positions to block. So that was, I mean, the thing I like about this particular remote view is I liked the fact that we are going to be able, in less than 3 years, to save ourselves from the emergency. My concern as a remote viewer is that we start thinking we don't have to make concerted efforts because the immediate problem's been resolved. That's my only concern about that particular remote. Okay, the second remote view, if you guys have anything more you want to add about environment. I mean, I think a lot of environmental stuff is going to be changing also, because you also have the world trying to create new ways of growing things so that we're not seeing these crazy migration patterns. But I really feel great about the fact that we can dramatically reduce the temperature, just emergency solution, in about 2.5 years. So that was exciting to see. And then the second remote view, we talked about the fact that Jack Smith was filing something today. I saw him filing on specifically, it gave me the date July 29th, which is today. And that he would be receiving more indictments in the next couple of days. But the date I want you guys to concentrate on right now is today, July 29th, because when I went in as a remote viewer and I was, not that I'm too nosy, I'm not too nosy, it's just there's certain things I like to look at. So I saw on one of the documents, the filing, I saw that the date was July 29th, which is today. And that had me curious because you can't file on the weekend, but somebody had said, yes, you can do something electronically. Yes. Oh, today is the 30th. Thank you. So it was yesterday. So they filed something yesterday. Thank you. So they must have been working yesterday. You're right. Saturday was yesterday. Yeah, so I guess we'll find out. Yeah, today is the 30th. So tomorrow we'll find out what that was. That's yesterday, yeah. It's just that yesterday I was doing my mystery show, which is, or no, my private get together for you guys. And so I kind of, and then I think I talked to you guys about it. Oh, this is what I'm going to be talking about on Sunday. So it's interesting. It's interesting, this remote, because it would indicate that we're getting really, really close to those indictments. And the other thing that's starting to come out is, I think, given his erratic behavior, the attacks he's made against E. Jean Carroll, etc., we could see him physically contained and even gagged by August. Yeah, if you're just going with the remote views, he could be contained relatively soon. God, I can't wait to see what they did this weekend, because we saw those documents and when you see that kind of thing, you just say, okay, something's going down. I wonder if those are the beginnings of what will be the indictment. Okay, so do I have any more remotes? Let me just check. I want to make sure I got to everything. Oh, the last thing, we talked about the Ukraine war and the fact that the soldiers were surrendering in mass. That's true. They did attack the supply chain. They are attempting to shut off the supply chains. And so what's happening in Ukraine is pretty much what we had said. They surrounded them in a lasso, and then they started pulling the lasso. And so they wound up trapping something like 50,000 Russian soldiers. Some of them have surrendered. And they have very few supplies, very few ammo. This is basically what the soldiers are saying. And in some cases, they don't even have basic protective gear, the Russians. So that many of them felt when they were surrendered like they were actually being rescued, because they're immediately being given water, food, etc. by Ukrainian soldiers. I mean, they were left to die in some of these places. They hunkered down with, mines, etc. in the southeast. They were also given an opportunity to get out, but unfortunately, Putin's ego being what it is, it's terrible what he's done to the Russian people. Lying to, how could they protect themselves? They've been lied to. Their kids have been killed in a war that never had to happen. Now Wagner, there are 100 troops, which is nothing. 100 troops in where are they? Belarus threatening Poland. Good luck with that. You want 100 Wagner troops are going to threaten the power that is NATO? Because Poland is part of NATO. Good luck with that. You people need to calm yourselves down and lay off the vodka. 100 Wagner troops. Ooh. Come on, folks. The other guy, the head of Wagner, Prigozhin, he actually, they exiled him to Africa. So anyway, so that's what I have. Yeah, so I felt actually the remotes I've been doing have been really, really kind of optimistic for the environment in the sense that we will find emergency solutions. That's not the problem. The problem is, come on now, we can do better than emergency solutions, right? No, no economic crash because we have Joe Biden. Actually, the economy was up 2.3% or so. It was up much higher than we had thought because Biden understands the new green economy. So he's switching everything over, and that's going to be what saves us. We talked about that a couple of years ago. So the money goes into the green economy and to getting us up to snuff and ready for, this new green economy because they're phasing out the old way of doing things, the old gas guzzling way of doing things. So that supplies more jobs. It opens up new industry. We're going to be just fine. We're going to be just fine. All right. Would you guys like to hear the Empath prayer and then we will blitz, blitz, blitz away? The other, during my abiding, the other thing I was watching Dr. Stephen Gear. He jokes that he speaks doctor. I guess he watches this channel because he knows about remote viewers. He speaks doctor, so he's able to speak my lingo. But I really enjoyed watching Dr. Stephen Greer talking about remote viewing, and specifically he was focusing on what he seemed to be describing heart-centered remote viewing, which is you got to get out of ego and judgment and just be in the energy of that dimensions if you want to connect with beings in that dimension. And that's really true. We think about these beings as light workers or light beings, and if you want to connect with that as an HCRV practitioner, you kind of have to work really hard to put your own stuff aside and expand yourself to a higher realm. So I really enjoyed hearing Stephen Greer, Dr. Stephen Greer, talk about remote viewers. And he's not just talking about aliens, he's talking about, going to different dimensions inside of our minds so that we can connect to other people in another way of connecting to information, basically. Yeah, I guess he had a major, he nearly died when he was young. And yeah, I speak doctor. That's what he says. Because you remember how I was before. I had all a bunch of blah, blah, blah. It's okay. I can handle her. I speak doctor. So I listened to Stephen Greer for a couple of hours, speak doctor, and now he got me on his bandwidth. All right, so we're going to do the Empath prayer, and then we are going to blitz, blitz, blitz away. Hi, Desiree Robato. So good to see you there. All right, let's see what Spirit has to say to you. Morgan Greer today. Would you like Morgan Greer? All right, let's give you a nice reading, one that's going to last you the whole week and put you in a beautiful, wonderful place. And this collective reading is for everyone watching today. It's like a beautiful banquet, our collective readings. We pass the food around and take what you like. And if it doesn't speak to you, it may speak to someone else at the table. All right, please join me in the Empath prayer, and then we will do the collective. All right. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys, to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together, collectively, we say, Amen. Amen, everyone. Oh, you would love to hear it? My cat, it's extremely high. The violin is very, very high, and my cat gives me looks. I think I should start filming my cat's reactions when I play the violin. She's like, like when the guitar comes out, she knows, oh, this is going to be a very beautiful melodic. Whimsy's playing the guitar. She's going to sing some Irish folk songs. Lovely. So she gets all comfortable when she sees the guitar because she's used to it. But she doesn't know what the heck to make of the violin because I can't play very well at this point. So when I take out the violin, Mila's like, but it's a lot of fun for me. All right, I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys, to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together, collectively, we say, Amen. What is in the future for us? All right, where we are at collectively as a group. Two things are going on with us right now, both of which are positive. The one aspect is that this is a time that's very emotional and very creative for many of you. Your karma card is the Queen of Cups. She rubs her lamp and she dreams. This could indicate that this is a time in your life when you are really opening up to your creativity, to your emotional side, to your dreaming side, and you're really becoming aware of perhaps some deep aspects of yourself. The unconscious perhaps is becoming conscious. You can see here that your karma card is the dreamer, but your base card is the sun. It's like an aha or a eureka moment. From your mind, you see, will come your wisdom, the sun. So you have this unbelievable creative energy, and then you also have this other aspect where you're starting to figure things out. All in all, I would say that this is probably a time in your life when you have the opportunity to start new projects that are very creative and very, very productive. For example, here you have the Page of Wands, which is associated with Archangel Uriel, or the Ari in Hebrew, which is the lion. It's associated with Leo, also Aries, or fire energy at the time of the spring. And it's a pilgrim who's beginning their new journey. This could be a time when you're experiencing new beginnings. However, financially, with the Two of Pentacles crossing, it could be some uncertain times for many of you financially. And you may wish to hold up stores or protect yourself financially from a rainy day in the event that things change. It's not a bad idea to secure yourself. I see many of you continuing on into higher education. Doesn't necessarily mean you go and get that PhD, but it's definitely a time of deep, profound learning for many of you. You can see here you're sitting in the Hermit's card, and it's sitting in the third house, which is what you sit in. So very deep mental activity for many of you. Past placement is King of Pentacles, which would indicate coming out of, this is like a business mode and entering into the Tower. So there could be concerns that some kind of major crash or event is going to happen, that some individual, possibly a hidden person, could be attempting to, I'm concerned about attacks in the US, or attempts to attack in the US. Some of these attacks, sometimes they get into our computers, etc. But based on what I'm seeing here in the collective, America's probably going to get attacked, possibly in the business sector. You can see here we have this hidden man here. And then we have to protect ourselves, the Seven of Wands, from an impending crash or tower. Let's find out what the cause of the tower is. Financial. They're going to try and go after our financial institutions, probably the Russians. Global financial. They're trying to attack the global financial institutions in the West. Prison. Many people feel like they are under attack. They don't know what's going on globally, but we feel the tension. Like when we couldn't leave our homes for nearly 2 years due to the leak, the lab leak, which we now know was a lab leak. But this is a feeling of being holed up or in prison, and then this tower here, and then here again. These are all defensive cards. Economic defensiveness. Things are moving very quickly economically, and a new partnership is emerging globally. Everything is going to be so fine so long as you remain close to the natural order. Do not violate the natural order. Try and go as plant-based as you can. That's good for your health. Don't harm the ecosystem. Do as much as you can to not harm the earth at this time, and you will be fine. You can see here that the financial situation for the earth at this time is rapidly changing. However, the world is coming together over these solutions because the environmental problems facing the world impact all of us. People can either come together and work together or not, but the final outcome here is a Three of Cups, which is armistice. This could indicate that we are headed towards a time of armistice. I really think it would behoove the people that are fighting America to stop attacking America, particularly with an armistice as the final outcome. It would indicate that at this time, the West is at a great advantage, and that anyone who attempts to harm the West, there would be serious consequences, because Three of Cups indicates that we've already won. Now, in turn, that's what's going on in the macrocosm. What's going on in your life, though, is that as long as you follow the natural order, as long as you are an ethical, decent person, you're not defrauding people or lying in your business practices, harming the environment, try and recycle. Try not to harm animals or take advantage of other people. Don't lie to other people to have your own ulterior motives. For your own ulterior motives, promising something, giving somebody a job and promising them it's going to be great when it isn't, or, all the ways that we can violate the natural order. A Three of Cups for you as an outcome would indicate that armistice is coming your way. However, there are warnings here not to behave amorally towards the planet and towards living or any other living beings. And if you stay kosher and you remain a good heart, a working, decent person, then you have nothing to fear in the future. Yeah, it's interesting, huh? I mean, Three of Cups is many of us do feel that, though, don't we? Right now, those are cards where people are really afraid financially. I think that people are so afraid because things are so crazy financially. Things have gotten so out of hand that people think, I can't afford to retire unless I earn $225,000 a year. I mean, come on, people. This is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, what Americans are going to start doing is just leaving. You have people saying, well, I can't afford to live here. And so they move to Spain or they move somewhere else. Cheers, everyone. If you have not liked or subscribed yet, it would be great if you could. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you. Also, I'd like to announce that we are raising money for charity, as we always do every Sunday. This Sunday, we are building a forest because, as you know, there have been serious fires in North America, and so we must replant, as we do every summer, through AmericanForest.org. If you are in any way, shape, or form even slightly entertained by our Sunday show, it would be great if you could throw a couple shekels towards AmericanForest.org. And without further ado, I will take a sip of my water and I will wait for people to have me blitz, blitz, blitz away. Well, people are retiring to Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Costa Rica, Spain, Portugal, even the south of France. Well, I don't want to live in France though, ever since those riots. I mean, but yeah, people are. But there are other places we could live right here in the United States. I mean, you could live in the Appalachians. You could live. I mean, there's plenty of nice places if you don't. I don't drive. That's my problem. I want to live somewhere like in the forest, but the only problem is I need to be close to public transportation. I think the solution is downtown Portland, Oregon, right, which is right next to Forest Park. So I got a bit of both, right? All right, so we are ready to blitz, blitz, blitz away. We can do 5-minute questions. We'll start with Rose Blue. She's talking about Bahkmut being surrounded. Yes, 50,000 soldiers, no food, no water, one group. They, I forget what they did to their commander, but they took off. So what's starting to happen is that they're disobeying orders and they're just starting to surrender in large groups. They had like hundreds of soldiers out of Bahkmut that just they literally had to escape their the Russian soldiers are having to escape from their command to surrender. That's the latest I've heard. Well, how long could you go without water? Let's take a look. You don't have to be able to work in Europe. You can get what's called a golden visa. And if you're a teleworker, then, I mean, you would pay a small fee for the right to live there, but you're not working there. You're working in the United States and paying U.S. taxes. You'd also have to pay a fee to live there, but it's usually doable. And so a lot of people have done that. They've just paid the fee to be a teleworker and just moved because, and then you just work from Spain. Because if I'm a teleworker and it doesn't matter what time, and they don't care if I log in at 3:30 in the morning as long as I get my work done, why wouldn't I buy a house for 50,000 in the Spanish Riviera and just pay the $50 a month to live there or whatever the charge is for. So that's what people are doing. But you might have to, if there's a 5-hour time difference with New York, you have to, instead of logging in at 8:30, you'd have to log in at say 3:30. People do it because it's just too expensive to live in New York. A lot of people are doing it now. I have friends. One of my friends, I don't know what she was thinking. She moved to London. She was so miserable. I'm like, why'd you move to London? London's expensive. I don't know. I mean, I love London for the people and the food and the theater, but it's a very expensive town. Be patient. They say be patient. Here's Zelensky. They're trying to defend themselves, the Russians, but you can see how strong Zelensky is because now the main counteroffensive is starting, which blew the Russians away because the Russians didn't, they were confused by the attack, evidently. They're going to start blowing up more of their ammunition. They need to surrender. Look at this. Yeah. I mean, there's not really much you can say other than the fact that Putin's own ego did this to the Russian. Putin's ego killed 250,000 Russians. That's basically how you, never mind how many tens of thousands of innocent Ukrainians and billions of dollars in damage because somebody, some crazy narcissist on a power trip. This is a question that a lot of people are asking Joanna Carson is because of the large number of Russians. How are they going to be able to house, because the numbers are so large right now? And I think that's a good question, Joanna. Well, Putin wants the war to end. He's talking with China and the heads of some of the African countries about he wants a ceasefire. He's been calling for a ceasefire. Zelensky will not give him a ceasefire because what he wants a ceasefire so he can regroup with his men. That's why Putin wants a ceasefire, but he's not going to get a ceasefire because they're plowing forward and they're not going to stop until they're out of Crimea. You can see here the Empress. That is where the Ukrainian military is. They are really well armed. Look at this, Ace of Swords. Zelensky again. War is over. Knight of Pentacles. That's why they don't get it. I don't think they realize how well armed NATO is. Putin keeps fighting, but his soldiers stop. That's the best way to describe this. Soldiers leaving. They are open. It started off as one or two people not listening to Putin, and now it's become nobody's listening to people. He's saying one thing, and they're seeing very clearly that they're surrounded and have no food. And so there's only one choice to make, and that is that you have to surrender, and that's what happens. Giving up their position. Here's Putin, refusal to listen. Well, Chariot also. Chariot is a card that would denote aggressive kind of an energy. It moves very quickly. Yeah. Okay, so I think people were asking a little bit about what was going on with Jack Smith and the latest filing, and I think we can go ahead and take a look about that. I honestly don't know what we're looking at because I only got a brief glimpse of the filing, but I'm pretty sure it had to do with that latest indictment. So I just want to get into Jack Smith's records briefly today to see if we can get any more information. I don't know if any of you who are remote viewers have tried to get in, or if you were able to find any information other than what I'm telling you. But it looks like they were very busy this weekend. I'll use the large cards. Let's see what we get. Okay, what is going on with Jack Smith? The latest filings. Isn't this exciting? Jack Smith's filings. I would say imminent. You can see here fear of incarceration by the president. You can see here that comes the police. Again, they followed the money. And the truth is coming out. These folks are just full-blown criminals. They really are. I mean, uh, they will desperately try. I think that the Republicans are desperately trying to put a stop to this because they're afraid of just how far this is going to go. Barricades expect in Atlanta. Yeah, you can see here Trump is completely losing it. I mean, he lives in the dream world. They've already tried to speak to prosecutors last week about this indictment. You can see here, this is like a police raid. What's interesting also is that the police come with the ethics card, which is often used as a constitution card when we're associated with the government because the Constitution is the law of the land. You can see here that they were investigating money transactions. Ultimately, that was how they caught them. And you can see here the truth and then red tape, which would indicate that a lot of them are probably going to be taken out, I would imagine, by red tape, taxes, etc. Archangel Michael is with Jack Smith. And that can't be a good sign for anybody who's going up against Jack Smith because Archangel Michael is associated with divine truth. Final outcome for the people who committed the crimes. Eight of Swords is interesting. Also, it's an interesting card to use because it does have that kind of red tape aspect to it. And it could show legal problems going forward for people. Thank you, Anonymous, for donating $20 to AmericanForest.org and for giving birth to 20 tree babies. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoyed giving birth to those 20 babies. I would imagine it would hurt, but it's a good thing. Barricades are being erected according to Tupelo Honey. In Atlanta, any updates on the indictments there? Holy crap. Can you imagine? Barricades. I mean, the level of, see, I think it's really Florida where people would go nuts is what's going on in Florida. If it's going to happen anywhere, because it's a lot of people that are really obsessed. It's like a cult over there in Florida, isn't it? All right, let's take a look at the barricades in Atlanta. City things are being coordinated really well. Great city coordination in Atlanta. Good job. Two of Cups, great, happening very quickly. Also, 10 of Cups. This is going very smoothly, and an inverted Two of Swords would indicate that maybe there was opposition initially to this, but ultimately, Fani Willis has cooperation, even from people who may have objected in the past. And I see the feds working with her, even though it's state charges. You can see here the Two of Cups, and then the Lover's card would indicate that Fani Willis is reaching across the aisle, possibly to the feds, and working closely with the feds. You can see moving very quickly the 10 of Cups. But what's interesting here is you have refusal to cooperate, even though they were given an opportunity to cooperate, and then facing possible incarceration of some type. And then what's interesting is that the feds step in, which indicates that there could be coordination with the feds. And that would make sense because of, I guess, laws about double jeopardy. He's facing both state and federal. And so the fact that the feds come in, it doesn't surprise me. Yeah. But in terms of, I don't see necessarily, my concern, honestly, when I go into this energy a lot is Homeland Security out of Michigan and Texas specifically. And the fact that they are openly obstructing Mayorkas' investigation. I mean, you can actually see the obstruction happening when you go in, that he has been shut out of his own agency. That concerns me. Rose Blue says that last year I was eating chocolate birthday cake when the Mar-a-Lago raid came on the TV. Best birthday gift of her life. Will she get more surprises this year? Well, they are getting into the electronics by the people that communicated with Trump. They handed over their electronics to him, to Jack Smith. So that was one way they got electronics on Trump, was people that were cooperating. They gave their side of the conversation, their electronics. And so you can reconstruct electronics from the people he spoke to. So that's also not going to help him. He's facing incarceration. It's very likely that they will prevent him from. This looks like he is arrested. I keep seeing him arrested. And I see his opposition winning. They still want to work with him because he has a lot of information still. Six of Cups would be a good sign for him. It means there still may be an opportunity for him to cooperate with this investigation. And he will. I still see Trump cooperating ultimately in order to avoid, maybe they'll give him a cushy prison, because at this point, he doesn't really have a lot of options left. You can see here, final outcome for Trump, Six of Cups with the Two of Cups would indicate that he should do what Giuliani did. Take everybody you've ever blackmailed or done schemes with, and you and your lawyers need to turn everything over to and throw yourself at the mercy of the feds, which is basically what Giuliani did. That would be my advice to him at this point. Yeah. Yeah, so it's a cult. It's a cult. So Joyce Pietras. Will there about the brainwashed MAGA people? Look, people grow out of stuff. You remember when the Beatles first came to America? People were so horrified they thought the Beatles were working with the devil, and they bought Beatles albums so they could burn them. Right? Okay, do you think the people in the South still think that the Beatles, maybe they do, some of the people that being a good Christian meant buying Beatles albums so you could burn them? I doubt the people. I doubt the people who did that even remember doing it now that their kids have grown up and listened to Beatles, and their grandkids are learning to play Blackbird on the guitar. Do you really think they still think? People grow out of stuff? And I think that's what, it's going to be hard to maintain the Trump cult when Trump is gone and when the microphone's been taken away. So let's see what the MAGA people. The ultimate problem with MAGA is that you have a lot of uneducated people in the United States. So it's really about, we have to build infrastructure and improve primary education. And then I think this would be less of a problem. Because if people understood how to fact check, if they understood how to do these things, we wouldn't be in this current situation, right? So it's all about cutting funding to primary education. So you have this strong movement, but then you have it going up against the feds, the courts, a lot of exposure. An inverted ace of wands would mean that it loses its cojones. So I don't think that the Trump party has a future, but the underlying cause is what we have to ask ourselves. How did this happen in the first place? And it happened for no number of reasons, because you have people who are extremely poor, desperate, no jobs, no education. Most of the people, I mean, I've seen documentaries on extreme poverty in the Appalachians, and they're all Trump supporters. So they're endorsing a party whose policies have really harmed the people in those areas. All right, so I think we'll do one more and then we'll call it a day. I'm gonna get rid of my hat. Love this hat. I got this in where did I see it? Where was it? Puerto Vallarta. I got the hat in Puerto Vallarta. That's right. Had a good time in Mexico. Went twice. Been to Mexico twice. Had a great time. Yeah. In Puerto Rico, what is that? You can rent for $450 and not worry about visas. Yeah, because exactly. Yeah, there are other options. But there's also plenty of inexpensive places to live in the country if you're willing to live in remote areas. All right, let's see here. Will DeSantis renege and do a remake on the Florida schools history of what a wingnut. Yeah, let's take a look at this. Slavery taught black people job skills. That's what he said. Yes. Because when you hold people hostage and deny them access to basic education, etc., then any education, according to DeSantis, kidnapped people who are being held hostage, tortured, raped. According to DeSantis, it was okay because they got an education. Really a Fruit Loop. I just always felt like his campaign falls apart. His campaign collapses. I think that it's going to be really interesting to see the changes that take place in Florida over the next couple of years, because you have this shift in the dynamics in Florida. It goes back to that 2.5-year time period, but I actually think Florida is going to go through a period of being much more liberal and progressive. I think it was a lot of things. I think it was the school shootings. It was this crazy behavior. A lot of stupid stuff happened, but you can see here you have a new guy on the block, and you also have a nine of Pentacles. I think DeSantis is going to be out, and I'm seeing a new energy coming in. You see like a 4 of Wands, and a star would indicate a new beginning for Florida, and it's a good beginning. These cards are actually very good for Florida. Look, he loses his support. People leave him. He's full of crap. And then some truth comes out about him. And I think that's starting to happen now, like the money he took, some questionable bribes he may have taken. Within the next 6 months, things are great in Florida, and you have reaching across the aisle. Very bad future. Something bad is coming out about DeSantis, and it forces him out, either out of the race or something. You have a new guy coming. You have a new guy that's going to compete against him, smarter. He's not running a second term, and I don't see him winning the presidency, but It's a new energy over Florida. That's the best way to describe it. A new energy, a new beginning, and we could also see very strong Black leadership in Florida as a result of this, and that's good. It would be nice to see if some of the progress we've seen in Atlanta, we could also start seeing similar progress out of Florida with these cards, because this man appears tall, dark, and good looking, right? And he completely changes things. I think we're going to see a new political energy taking over in Florida. I think we're going to see a strong Black caucus having a huge impact towards more progressive politics in Florida over the next couple of years. And this type of extremism will not bode well for conservatives in Florida going forward. Yeah. All right, that is basically it. That is all I have for you folks. Did you have fun? Because young people are going to take Florida back. That's what I think. That almost looked like Florida is going to get a Black governor, to be honest with you. Some guy comes in. Some guy's going to come in. He's very strong. And it takes him about 2.5, 3 years. And then Florida goes through what appears to be, it starts moving more towards progressive political ideas. Yeah, that's what it looked like. All right. Thank you, everyone, for hanging with me. If you're trying to get in for a reading with me, I would love to give you a reading. You can book through Booksy for a phone reading. Times are displayed Pacific Daylight Standard Time. So if you're on the East Coast, you have to add 3 hours to the appointment. So like if it says your appointment's at 2 o'clock, it's really going to be 5 o'clock your time. Yeah. If you need a Wizio, a pre-taped reading, that information is also below. It usually takes me less than a week to get the response back to you, and that's pre-taped. Anything else I need to say to people before I check out? Is that it? Well, again, thank you all for hanging with me. Continue to think your wonderful, beautiful thoughts. Thank you, everyone who helped. Kay, Travel to Road, Desiree Robato, Joyce Pietra, Super Queen B, and all you other wonderful people that hung with me today. Be sure and share, like, subscribe if you can. And if you could think about being a member, that would also be cool. It's another great way of supporting this channel. I'm out of here, and I will see you all next time. Adieu, Wiedersehen, and be well.